talking about cheating. And is it okay to cheat?
I love the way Buzzfeed Yellow sets themselves up as love experts. Then Buzzfeed Video says, is it okay to cheat? Well, what do you think, BuzzFeed? Being as cheating, the heartache, pain, jealousy, insecurity, violence, anger, all this shit that cheating creates makes up a huge swathe of fiction, especially soap opera drama. It's not like it isn't common knowledge. What do you think, you fucking love gurus?
Chris, have you ever been cheated on?
Is it trendy to have no heterosexual white males on? Is that a BuzzFeed thing? Fuck, what's going on here? But I can see the flaw with this. In my video before last, I said, shall we play Grab a Grot? And after uploading it, I wondered how many people actually knew what Grab a Grot was. Grab a Grot is when you're in the pub with a bunch of lads, and the moment of Grab a Grot, it means you run off, you pull a hideous, minging bird and bring her back, and the loser buys the drinks. Now, it's a pretty callous game, I'll admit that, but the stakes for yourself, whether you sort of say to her after you've won your segment of the game, whether you then turn around and say, look, fuck off, I'm not actually interested, or whether you then have to stand by it and spend the night with the girl, that's kind of down to you, and the personal level of callousness can be mega high, or you can be trapped having to get off and possibly sleep with the minger because you're too embarrassed to admit what you've done. That's kind of poetic justice. But what I see here is a panel of grots, really. If you were playing Grab a Grot and you brought one of these back, you'd pretty much be okay, apart from number 4. She looks pretty fit. Not mega, but fairly. But I've seen a flaw with this. This attempt to be young and hip and trendy and relevant sort of pisses on the main problem with cheating. You have to be a little bit older to get this, and none of them have the experience for it. Cheating has the most impact when you're invested in the relationship, and by invested I mean for the guy, you're married, you're working, you're bringing up kids, you're going out there, and pretty much all your life energy is spent funneling resources towards the woman. Now, if you're doing that and she sleeps with the neighbour while you're at work, it is the most backstabby, bitching thing you could do, really. And this thing about bored housewives, you might have sympathy for the bored housewife position, but to do that to the guy who is spending his years taking care of you, no, that's seriously painful because of the level of investment. And to flip that around a little bit, for the woman who's at home, who's got the kids, who, you know, maybe sacrificed her figure to have the kid, who's spending all her time looking after this family unit. Now, if she's at home doing that, and the guy goes out and finds a younger model, he's gone outside of this situation where you've got a fair amount of pressure, you've probably had arguments, but the relationship's okay. He goes outside of that bubble of intimacy and true knowledge, and he meets a younger woman who goes to a restaurant and then to a hotel and has sex. He's basically having the best bits of what your relationship used to be without any of the negative sides. So for the woman trapped at home who would love to be in that situation, would love to be doing the restaurant and hotel and sex, if she had the energy, if she had the time, the clearance, the babysitters, you know, under the right circumstances, she'd love to be doing that with her own husband. But circumstances go against it, and this other bitch, she hasn't done anything, and she's just getting all the good stuff with none of the sacrifices or commitments or anything like that. And you can see there again, you've invested so much into this person, into the relationship, and they're just going and not pissing it away, but they're sharing something that the woman at home deserves with somebody who doesn't really deserve it, just by virtue of being younger and having a tighter body. Usually is the main catalyst for that. These guys are not equipped to deal with this debate. If you're at college and someone cheats on you, it's a little bit of heartache. Yeah, brilliant, unless you're a swinger. Some people like to have sex with 20 other people at the same time, including their better half. But that's down to individuals. For other people, that would be a traumatic scenario. So it's not all that relevant, unless you bring the concept of invested energy into this subject. is not really worth talking about. I mean, you might just talk about the shit that they're going to talk about.
I've been the other man before, and it was very traumatizing.
But I feel that because I've also been in situations where I was the other woman, and like you just kind of, you don't want to feel like dirty. It makes you feel dirty
exactly.
inside, and it's
so
just
dirty.
like, I'm a consenting adult. Like I thought that we were both going into something on the same terms, and like clearly we weren't, and you kept that from me. If you have to choose between her or me, then it was never meant to be. I haven't been cheated on.
Love it when people say they've never been cheated on. It's always, you've never been cheated on to your knowledge. And it's usually the sort of people that would be a bit la-di-da about it as well. They're either so full of themselves that they can't conceive of being cheated on, or they're a bit doofy and would never have picked up on the signs. Anyway, this particular woman, maybe she has never been cheated on. I wouldn't cheat on her. She'd hit you with the fucking rolling pin. She's built like a Russian javelinist or a discus thrower. There's 2 guys on this panel, but she's got the biggest biceps. No, yeah, you probably wouldn't want to cheat on her.
There's another saying, you're only as sick as your secrets.
What, you're only as sick as the shameful crap that you won't tell anyone about? That's some fucking urban wisdom, mate. That's like saying you're only as tall as the top of your head is distant from the ground. You're only as old as the number of times the earth spins around the sun since you were born. Sheer fucking obvious. Why would you even say something like that? Do you think it's clever? You obviously didn't fucking make it up, regurgitating some shit you heard somewhere. It's a good place to drop that piece of urban wisdom. That was fucking dumb.
And I think, like, if you hang on to that shit, then it eats at you.
You're a fucking psychological expert, mate. So, if the guilt of cheating eats at you if you hold on to that shit, shall we go the next little extra step? Shall we go all the way and say, well, perhaps cheating is not okay? do you think that would indicate such? Are you just gonna fucking drop your fairly cliche psychobabble crap and not answer the question?
That's tattoo options right now.
This might be like a bad time to say that I have cheated before.
So have I.
No judgment.
It's fine.
Okay, no
Yeah.
judgment. Judgment
Safe
free.
space.
It is. I'm not above it.
God damn, you've answered the question again. She says, I've cheated, and like, no judgment, no judgment. If the moral position between cheating and not cheating were exactly the same, you wouldn't need to say, no judgment, no judgment.
I've been on all sides of the situation.
Yeah,
so I've
same.
cheated, I've been cheated on, and I've been the other man. So I feel like,
Confessions.
yeah, and I'm not even like, I feel like cheating happens.
Yeah,
That might
it
be,
does.
like, it happens to you, it happens with you. It's like, it's inevitable as a part of like dating and complicated shit. Human beings want to fuck, right? And I just think like, can I be real? Yeah. And we get into these like...
Yeah, human beings like to fuck. It's pretty much our primary drive. So what's with the celebration here? It's like one of those cunts who smokes tons of ganj, goes on about it like it makes them hard or ultra cool or something. It's like, no, it just means you like getting high. It's like the local alcoholic boasting about how much he drinks. That's what you look like when you do that shit. Now this is a sort of even stupider version, reacting to the statement that humans like to fuck as if it's a bold enterprise to even think it. What the fuck are you talking about? The question was about cheating. He was talking about cheating, then he said we like to fuck, and you're like, hell yeah. Barely even makes fucking sense. What are you doing, assholes?
contractually binding relationships without realizing that like 4 years down the road you want to fuck someone else.
Since when were relationships contractually binding? Ugh. I fancy this chick, we've been on a few dates, I think we're kind of an item, it's time to break out the prenup. What? What a load of shit. But actually on the subject, there's an interesting difference between men and women most people don't realise. When you're in that first little bit of, you've met someone, there's a spark of interest, you've started sort of doing little bits of things with them, gone bowling or to the cinema or whatever, and you've kissed them a couple of times, but you're not you're both interested, but you're not really an item, and maybe the pair of you yourselves don't truly know where you stand, just that you want more of it. Now, during that phase, in a man's mind, it's on. He's not interested in other bitches at that point. He's got this one girl. And during that phase, the woman doesn't consider it wrapped and something that's going on. She thinks it's okay to see other guys during that phase because you're not in a relationship. Whereas the guy, if he found out that the woman was fucking about with other people while they were doing that, it would pretty much be a deal breaker. And a woman kind of wouldn't understand that. So it's interesting. You can talk about contractual obligations, but there's a certain element of this, you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, communication fuck-ups. There is something in there. You want a little bit of clarity, but you hell no don't want to put out a contract just to go out with someone.
But
So
here's
then-
the thing I'm gonna add to that.
Yeah,
I think
do it.
a lot of times we get with people and we're not totally honest about what we want.
Absolutely.
Especially
Yeah.
sexually.
Yep.
But don't you think it's because we don't even know that it's okay to want those things?
Yes, and that gets into me with what I do as a coach, as a dating coach. I help empower singles.
What the fuck? You're a dating coach? You're a dating coach. You are barely more than a fetus. How can you be a dating coach and empowering singles? If singles were happy, they wouldn't need a relationship. No, that was a bit much. That's not even true. But fuck this. The one decent chick there turned out to be a dating coach. I can't watch this anymore because now they're all grots. I need to give this up. Sorry, darling. If you weren't such a fucking numpty, there'd be a chance for us.
Confessions, 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 confessions.
Alright, it's a no on the relationship, but a yes on the hand shandy. Yep, definitely. What are you doing? What are you doing, you gammy-armed fucker? What are you doing? You've ruined it now. You've ruined my hand shandy with your freaky pointy arm thing.